All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to QCAFE, brought to you by Muzen. And we are here in our new social media platform. We are recorded here on YouTube. Yeah, so now we are shifting from Facebook to YouTube, but of course, we will not be abandoning Facebook. It's just that we find it more flexible to be published here in YouTube. And I am your host for tonight. I'm Ann Danga from Muzen Core Consulting Inc., wherein we provide you your HR services, the HR services that you need from hiring, training, retiring, and even other HR processes that your company needs. And in Q Cafe, we share topics that can help you personally, help you manage your team, and help you even in other aspects of life to give you that work-life balance. Okay, and tonight we have another interesting topic. Okay, so it's the art of listening. And to give proper introduction to our featured speaker for the evening, here goes. Okay, our featured speaker is one of the pioneers of points of view in the Philippines and is a certified transformational coach and a Gallup certified strengths coach. As a coach, she helps individuals and organizations in bringing out the best in people and living their best lives, achieving goals and dealing with challenges. She considers herself an inspirepreneur and strengthspreneur. Yan ah, two coined words. As one of the co-owners of Passionista Camp, promoting the values of respect, passion, inclusion, safety, and collaboration. She is a member of the International Coaching Federation and Business Network International. So we are both members of BNI, and another global organization of business owners. Please welcome our featured speaker for tonight, the beautiful Miss Vinna Cruz. Vinna, hello, Vinna.
Hi,
Welcome to
Anne.
Q Cafe.
Thank you for having me tonight. And it's really an honor to be with you. Wow.
Yes, so I know you have a lot of things to discuss for us. So I now hand you over the virtual stage. And
All
later on, stand by for our discussion, free-flowing to. If you have questions that you would like to post on the YouTube page, we'll try to answer them later on. Okay, Dina, the floor is yours.
there. So
Thank you,
our topic
Anne.
for
So,
tonight is the art of listening. But I put there active listening. So let's see what is listening about and how it can help us in our daily lives, professionally and personally. Okay, so first, did you know that 70% of our time is spent to some form of communication? Yan. And out of the 70% of this communication, 45% is spent to listening, 30% to speaking, reading is 16%, and writing is only 9%. So I'm sure some of you, including I, before, I thought that we spend most of our time speaking. Diba? We love talking, right? Masarap magkwentuhan. And we love to share our ideas, we love to contribute, and we love to express, especially Filipinos. And whether it's a good thing or bad thing, anything that happens, mga experiences natin or new learnings, we love to share, and that's good. But actually, it is really in listening where we spend most of our time. And listening is actually a skill, and the field of listening was established. The field in the study of developing the field of listening was established by Dr. Nichols. He spent 40 years focusing on listening, about listening. They had a first study nila in a school. They had the first freshman students. They got the lowest 20% of the class and let them enroll in an effective listening class. And after which, you know what the result is? They improve their performance in school, and they even have a better performance than those students who were not required to enroll in that effective listening class. So actually, Dr. Nichols used to be, in speech. He's into speeches, but he went from sending message to receiving message when he went into the study of establishing the art of listening. Now, did you know that the most basic, unchanging human need is to understand and be understood? So there are a lot of things that Dr. Nichols shared that we already know, but I'll share with you that just to remind, no, refresh everyone that something that we could be reminded of. Like, this is the basic human need, unchanging, before, even now, and even in the future. And then it is almost impossible, he said, to hate a person whom we fully understand, isn't it? And the best way to understand the people is listen to them. And do you know that when we make decision, small, big decision, it is not because of our reason, but actually because of the reason of other people. Ganda, no? I'm just realizing that when I was, reading a lot of his work. And yeah, it was a mind shift that, we thought, no, most of us thought before that when decision is always about us, but actually no. As human beings, it's our basic nature to be other-centered. Now, the wise listener is always attentive and not evaluative, meaning we don't listen just to make our interpretations or judgments, and we just listen and allow this information to come to us. Um, and then also, do you know, if to understand and to be understood is a basic human need, would you know what is the highest form of human need? Okay, and the highest form of human need is to be fully human. If you know the Maslow of hierarchy of needs, initially this was referred to as the self-actualization, but actually what it meant is just being human, being fully human, being more compassionate, being more having more empathy to people, being connected with other people, and this is what we want to achieve. And actually, the listening, the art of listening, brings us to the highest form of human need, isn't it? Okay, now here's the data that do you know how our minds process information? Diba every day, lalo na ngayon, no, with the influx of information online, everywhere, social media, internet, and a lot of sources of information, pati mga marites, source of information, we process this. And our mind can process from 400 to 800 words per minute. And when we speak words, it's actually 125 to 175 words per minute. So think about this, that as we process a lot of information in our minds, we only speak this. What happens to the gap, no? Yung thought rate versus our speech rate. What happens in between? Diba? Especially when you are having a conversation with a person, and then suddenly, ayan na, biglang nag-zoom out na tayo. Or biglang nagwa-wonder na, ano kaya kakainin ko later for my midnight snack? Or tomorrow, what dress would I wear? Aminin, so I've included ako, I also have catch myself in that zone, wandering zone, and I have to bring myself back to the conversation. Okay, so this is some thought that we could ponder, especially when we are listening to other people. Now, what's the benefit of active listening? So it can demonstrate acceptance, it can promote problem-solving abilities, increase our receptiveness to the ideas and thoughts of others, and of course, the esteem of the other person is increased, as well as we ourselves, as the listener, we can also overcome self-consciousness and self-centeredness. And of course, with listening, we can help prevent head-on emotional collisions. Now, what happens with if we lack or if we have poor listening skills? Ayan, syempre, we know and we experience this all the time. And sometimes we might be wondering, why did we have that misunderstanding? Sometimes a petty thing, where is it coming from? And sometimes just because we have not developed well our listening skills. And so assumptions, interpretations, misunderstandings, and even in our decision makings, if we have a poor listening, um, it may affect our decision. We may have ineffective decisions, especially for those at work. For the leaders, executives out there, we might not be able to get into the better choice in terms of having yung mga judgment call that we call, especially in crisis situation. And in some businesses, they can be very costly. They can lose millions. Because why? Sometimes if they were not able to attend to the client, to a complaint or address a client concern or need, perhaps we lose these clients. For the simple reason, we were not able to understand what our client needs. And there are also, loss of relationships or in teams. If we are working in teams, we know that collaboration and teamwork is very important, but if there are a lot of misunderstanding among team members, it can also loosen the team cohesion. Okay. So that is why it is important that before we understand others, we also have to understand ourselves. So to have this artful way of listening, we have to understand, we have to be self-aware on what are our biases, what are our judgments, prejudices, our beliefs, and our perceptions. Because these things will always creep in us. And sometimes, or most of the time, it will affect on how we receive the information. And when we receive information and allow these barriers to be present, then we may lead to misinterpretation or assumptions that won't be good for our perhaps in our team or pwede siguro yan in our personal life. Diba? Mga, say, relationship with coworkers, or even with our superiors or with our direct reports, and even at home with our family or with our friends. And so this is something that we also have to understand, that we have to catch ourselves. How are we? What are we thinking about? What are our beliefs that may affect a conversation, or that may affect our the way we receive information? Okay, so make sure that we don't evaluate or we don't jump into conclusions, but we are able to evaluate facts and evidence. All right, so how do we do this? How do we put together having our own self-awareness and making sure that we are able to understand and be understood and lead us to the highest form of being fully human in a simple whether it's a simple conversation or it's an important conversation in our family or in the workplace. Okay, so here are some. I know a lot of you would know some of this and would have more, and probably you are already practicing this and as a reminder and addition to what we are already doing. So first is being present. Ano ba tong being present? Parang it's difficult to comprehend, no? How is it? How do we become present? Present, it's not past, it's not future. So it's in the now. And being present is making sure that we are in the moment and we are not preoccupied with our past experiences or anticipating in the what we want in the future or perhaps the next day. So how do we do that? First is we limit our interruptions. Yung mga whatever distracts us, like for example, cell phones, what else? The technology, we move away and then shift our attention, full attention to the person, to the other person we are talking to. And then aside from that, when we are being present, it's not just talking, you know, that's making sure, hey, I'm here, and then interrupting the person. It's just having quietly listening to what the person is saying to us. And then one conversation at a time. Sometimes meron na tayong kausap in front of us and then when the phone rings, we pick up the phone and then wait lang, okay, I'll just take this for a few minutes. So it disrupts the conversation. So make sure one conversation at a time, pick up the phone after one conversation. Show interest, maybe do it nod, and what else? This undivided attention. Don't argue mentally. Sometimes when we listen to other person in our minds, there's a lot going on and thinking, or am I believing this? Or parang hindi naman yun. Diba? So so catch yourself. Let's catch ourselves. Ako, ano ko dyan, admittedly, I also have those questions or conversations inside my mind with myself. And then we don't need to react to ideas. And then, so there, and be present with the person that you are talking to. Now, here is another tip. It's okay, be okay with silence. What does it mean? Okay. Sabi nila, we don't like yung mga lull or gap. We always want to have that moment na when the person just about to finish their sentence, then we have to jump in. We have to say something right away. Actually, no. When we listen to another person, before we even respond, it's okay to take a moment. Take a moment and reflect if we truly understood what they said, if we truly heard what they said, and be able for us to summarize, synthesize the meaning of what the person is trying to tell us. What is this about? You have that at the back of our head. What is this person telling me and what this person wants? And these are two questions that I have. No? Personally, I'm using when I listen. And then I'm trying to figure out what is this all about? What is this person trying to tell me? Okay, so you don't have to reply right away or have a comment. Always have that collect your thoughts before we can respond. You can breathe. Sometimes, di ba, parang, uy, nag-dose off ako. Parang hindi ko yata siya naintindihan. It's okay to say to the person, can you repeat that again? Or I think I did not get your last sentence. So something to that. And then pause. And then allow that silence not only for the other person, but for yourself to really contemplate um, that and find out for yourself, oh, did I really understand that? Okay. So pause, it's okay. Second, the other one is pay attention to what, not only to what is being said, not on what you want to say. Um, Ito, madalas na we fall into the trap of when the person is saying something, we are already formulating in our minds, okay, how I'm going to reply, what am I going to say? So we're not focusing anymore on the person, but we're focusing on our minds, or we're focusing on ourselves. Now, to share with you, there are 3 levels of listening. The first one is what we call internal listening. Internal listening is listening to respond. Then the second one is focus listening, person specific. Yan. And the third one is what we call global listening. This is listening or picking what is not said, and we use our intuition. And sometimes we call this reflective listening. Okay, so what we want to achieve is to be in the level of global listening for us to be more effective communicators. Yan. Okay. So how do we do that? I know some of you or most of you are familiar with this chart. This is the Meridian method or tool in terms of global communication. Now we use this especially for speakers that, okay, for us to be able to deliver our words, we use this as a guide. So when words, we know that words is only 7% that is being really transmitted to the people to when we send our messages, and 38% is due to delivery, well, tonality, pitch, speed, and volume of our voice. And most of that is the 55% is the body language. So we use our hand gestures, facial expressions. Now, how do we use this guide when we are listening? And dyan papasok yung ating observation skills. Yan. As in the art of listening, we have to really develop our observation skills, meaning noticing not only the words that are being spoken, but also the delivery, how it is said, and also and more so the body language. Okay? Yeah. Now, acknowledge and appreciate. So as we listen, sometimes we can always, we say to the person is, yeah, I understand. I feel you. Or I really, or I know what you're saying, or I've been there. These are acknowledging, or sometimes, oh, I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend to you. Thanks for reminding me. So acknowledging the other person or what the other person is trying to tell us, and appreciate, oh, thank you for correcting me, or thank you. By the way, thank you for bringing this up. I have missed this. Di ba? Minsan sa office, sometimes we have a lot of things going on, a lot of things to do, a lot of things to accomplish. And of course, we cannot remember a lot, and people, especially if you're working in a team, there will be people who will remind, hey, what's our timeline, or where are we? Are we progressing in this goal? Yan. And so let us appreciate the people who go out of their way in contributing and making our work better. Yan. So appreciate. Remember, we want to be fully human, and this is how we. This is one way of sending to the other person that we know, that we observe, that we notice what they are doing, we notice their contributions, and also we notice what they are sharing with us. Okay, so part done is empathizing. And having this, we cultivate trust and safety, making sure that when, especially kung one-on-one naman yan na usapan, no, that you talk to other person one-on-one, this also provides an environment of safety that I'm safe with this person, I can be open with this person when we acknowledge and appreciate what is being said during the conversation. Okay. Now, another tip is restate, or some would describe this as paraphrase, meaning to say we restate or paraphrase the key points that we heard and ask whether they are accurate, or let's clarify. One example is ganito. Okay, so let me clarify if I heard you correctly. Diba? Or tama ba yung sinabi mo that you want this and this? Okay, so before proceeding, so because we want to make sure that what we heard is correct, so aligned. There is an agreement between you that you are on the same page. Yan. Kasi baka mamaya we respond right away or we address what is being said. Tapos, pagdating sa dulo, hindi naman yung ibig kong sabihin. Or that's not what I meant. Oh, ganun ba? So balik na naman kayo sa start. Balik na naman kayo sa topic. Okay. So it's very important that every time a person would say something, before we even inquire or give our solution or answer, let's clarify if we got it correctly. Okay. It's also we also call this as we reframe also. So we paraphrase what is being said. And then of course we encourage other people to offer ideas and solutions before you give yours. Remember si Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela is known for he's a great leader, but is also known of being the last one to speak. He will listen first to his people, and after that, that's the time he speaks, because for him it's very important to hear out the thoughts and of other and ideas of his people. So same here, whether you are in a conversation with one person or in a conversation with a team, with a group of people, it's especially for leaders, it's very important that we listen first before we speak. And for all we know, the best answers are already there, that we don't have to offer our answers, or the best solutions will already be shared by your people. Okay. So, mastering the art of active listening is not easy. Remember that our minds think fast. We process a lot of information. And so it is really up to us on how we can practice this and develop the skill and the art of active listening. So it's not just a skill, but it should be an art, meaning to say there's that human connection going on in a conversation. And it's the listening skill, or the art of listening is the one that will bring us to that level of being human with another person. So be present, being in the now moment, and then paying attention. Practice the observation skills. When you observe the tonality, observe their body language, observe the words that they use. And then reflect to yourself. And then probably if there's something that you need to clarify, reflect back it to the person you are talking to. No? So that we would have more clarification and more understanding of what is being said. And then this is being curious, being in the space of curiosity instead of the space of judgment or assumption. Let's go to that, because in every conversation, it is actually a learning conversation to all. Okay. And keep an open mind, and so that more ideas will be talked about, and then it's gonna cultivate safety and trust to the people that we talk to. Okay, so with that, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Vina, for sharing with us information, tips, the facts, of course, the problem of listening and how we can resolve it, tips how we can improve our listening skills as well. Grabe, ang dami kong napulot. And sometimes parang ano lang yan, you're not aware that, ito pala yun, dapat pala ganun. And it gave me what you call this valuable lessons that I have to pay for because of my mistakes in not listening properly. Ayan, so really interesting. Thank you so much. Ito, para sa'yo, isang masigabong palakpakan from me and the audience. Thank you, Vina.
Thank
And
you.
now I have a couple of questions from the presentation you gave. No? All right. Have you personally encountered someone who listened to respond and not to understand? How,
Yes.
and how were you able to cope with the situation?
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So I have a lot of that.
Yeah, especially those who are working in the corporate world. Naku, ang dami niyan. Natatawa kami ni Vina. Been there, done that.
Yes, been through that. So there is a conversation, I think, with a colleague, with the colleagues I was talking about. So I was parang I'm referring a situation na hindi ko kasi maintindihan. Tapos nagpapanik ako, so deadline na at hindi pa ako tapos. So I was like asking, and then I was stating, huy, ganito, I need to do this, but I have some challenges. Can you help me out? And then una, sabi, okay, so what is it? So kwento naman ako ng kwento ko. And then, di pa ako tapos, ano na siya agad, mag-i-interrupt. Ganito na yan. Bibigay na siya agad ng solution. Sabi ko, tapos mag-iisip ako, in my mind, hindi naman yung sinabi ko sa kanya. So hayaan ko siya, nagbibigay na siya ng solution, pero feeling ko, it's not working for me. Sabi ko, hindi, that's not what I mean. Kasi ulit na naman ako sa kwento ko. Tapos yun, interrupt na naman siya. Hanggang sa humahaba yung usapan namin, para kami nagpipingpong, and then, so nangyari, meron pa dun na magkakaroon pa yan ng konting disagreements.
Yes, oo.
Meron yan. Kasi lalabas na yan. Ito kasi yung sinabi mo kanina, di ba? O kaya ito yung sinasagot ko ngayon. So ano yung mga lessons or experience nun? First, tumataas yung frustration level ng person. Not only me, probably that person also, nagkaroon din siya ng frustration level na how come hindi kami nagkakaintindihan? How come we're not, hindi kami matapos dito sa usapan na to? So yun. So in the end, it's either magko-compromise one way or the other. Somebody will compromise. Okay, let's just finish this conversation, or let's just stop this. In the end, walang nare-resolve.
Kasi parang yan, di ba, Vina? Hindi kayo aligned eh. Nasa AM station siya, nasa FM station.
Yes.
So magkaiba kayo ng mindset.
Yes. And I was also, yes, I was also in a situation the other way around. Ako rin yun with my direct report. Sabi ng direct report ko, hindi siya nakikinig sa akin. Parang the feeling was, yun nga, hindi siya nakikinig sa akin. Pero in my mind, I was listening. That's why I gave this this recommendation. Pero hindi pala. So, nagkakaroon suloy doon. Minsan, syempre, lalo na pag mga direct reports, sometimes they have a fear of asserting, um, being calm and assert. You know, they might. Lalo na mga bago, naku, baka magalit sa akin si boss. Wag na lang. Okay na ako na lang mag-adjust. Pero, deep inside, hindi siya satisfied.
Oo, ayan. Kaya talagang very important ang listening. Diba? Ayan. Thank you, Vinna. Ito, I have another question. Ito, it actually may connection siya dun sa first. How can you snap out someone from zoning out and focus without offending them?
Okay. So, how can I snap out someone? Meaning, tama ba yung understanding ko is I'm the speaker or I'm the
So,
one?
you're the one speaking, yung kausap mo, lutang.
Okay.
Oh, so paano mo siya gigisingin in such a way na hindi siya ma-offend sa'yo and he or she will focus more on what you're saying.
Okay, I got that. All right. So, there are many ways. For me personally, one is sometimes I pat. Yung dito, minsan wala akong sinasabi. But if I noticed the person is zoning out, so I will tap. In other words, parang pag naramdaman niya, nagtanap ko siya sa shoulder, para siyang mababalik ko siya. Halika, balik ka dito sa usapan natin. Something like that. I'm not saying anything, I'm just tapping. Or I'll throw a question. Say for example, the name is Anna, am I making sense? Ayan. So it's like asking feedback if what I'm saying is making sense. Or Anna, do you have any questions? Ayan. So medyo ganon lang siya. Pero hindi ko siya kinukol at huy, you're zoning out. Lutang ka.
Oh.
Hindi.
Actually, may ganon, di ba? May mga ganong leaders na, syempre, right, nowadays, people are more sensitive. Would you agree with me, di ba? So parang, how can you approach them in such a way na, yun nga, it's non-offensive na, yun. So, yeah, tama, no? Tapping, parang may human touch ka. Na, hey!
Oh, there's another, I would like to add that also. Kunyari in a meeting, kasi minsan yung iba dyan, pagka ganon, pag meeting, after na meeting, kausapin ko on the side. Hey, what's going on? I noticed something kasi during our conversation or during our meeting. What was happening there? So I would understand what made this person like laging lutang siya or nag-zone out siya. Kasi as kunyari ako yung team lead niya, I have to understand my people as well. What's happening? What's going on? And as a leader, it's important that we hear them out. And we want them to be open and be trusting to us so that we make sure that they are being heard, that they feel that they are being cared for. And that's one way.
I agree. Yan yung, it's not only human touch, but also the sincerity of knowing where they are and how you can help them, di ba, Vinna? Ayan. Makings of a true and great leader yan. Okay, here's another question. In your opinion, Vinna, do you agree that the pandemic allowed us to listen more and be present?
Personally, yes. I think the pandemic gave me, like the opportunity or the chance to pull myself together again and review what's really happening. Because in the pandemic, what was the situation or what is our situation, especially during the heightened lockdown? We were forced to be to stay at home or to be quarantined and to what you call this, to be isolated. And then we were socially apart. And then, so there was this moment na, okay, what's happening? And I tried to be more, o- um, to understand what's happening. I listened in social media. I have more conversations. Pero syempre, ano pa rin yun, no? Yung nangyari nun, nag-iba siya. I mean, yung shift, it was not easy, kasi from being in a noisy world, yung sa rat race na go lang tayo ng go, tapos bigla tayong nag-break. Okay, break. Okay, so doon adjustment. Pero nung we were able to pull ourselves, I pulled myself together. Okay. Mas marami na akong pauses, mas marami na akong understanding, at mas nakilala ko yung sarili ko. I learned about myself and was able to reflect. Oh, I shouldn't be doing that. And then I was able to adjust. It is an opportunity to adjust, to shift, and to change my ways of communication, because syempre we're in a process, and not all the time we are good listeners. But with the but the situation helped me to get into that space of, okay, sige, let me listen first. Let me listen to the instructions. Yun lang eh. Since the COVID is new, we do not know anything about it. So the tendency is, okay, I have to listen to what the government is saying, the DOH is saying, what are the guidelines? If I miss these guidelines, what's gonna happen to me? So, doon lang, as basic as that.
Yeah, dyan pumapasok yung sinasabi mong we have to be self-aware, no? And yeah, you listen then to what our body says. Actually, the pandemic told us to be aware of our health as well, di ba, Miss Vinna? and listen more to others. Parang mas naging makatao, no? Mas makatao tayo when the pandemic happened, because we have a chance to listen not only to ourselves but to others. Ito naman, I find this funny. Who do you think our best listener, or is a better listener? Is it the male gender or the female gender? Do you have a study on that?
Honestly, I haven't come across with a study, but if in my opinion, I'll just share my opinion. It's not about gender. For me, it's about the person. If the person is truly practicing or aware of how to listen, if the person knows the importance or the value of listening, regardless of gender, we should all be working harder to be good listeners to other people, regardless of, especially now in the era of DEI. Everybody, as basic as human beings, we have to listen.
Yeah. Okay, last na Miss Vinna, to close. What's your message to leaders and executives when it comes to listening to their team or listening to what their people are saying?
So, my message siguro for the leaders, to the executive team in any organization, in all organization, is to be curious, to be interested, to be fully and truly sincere and interested in understanding, in hearing out your people, because the answers are actually there already. For effective decision making, listening to your people will help you a lot.
Okay, ayan naman. Thank you so much. So, effective listening, my dear QCAFE viewers, is the key for you to manage, to make sound decision. Ayan. And just to recap of what Vinna has mentioned, tips on how to have better listening skills, active listening skills. So we have to be present. Ayan. We have to pay attention, observe, also to reflect, be curious, and be open. So that's how we can master the art of active listening. And of course, we have to practice, 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 practice. Kasi hindi naman tayo perfect. And you won't get it overnight. So you have to continuously practice, learn, unlearn muna, no? So you can learn new things. And this is one of the best things you need to learn. It's listening. Sabi nga ng Beatles, listen, do you wanna know a secret? So sa mga marites dyan, listening is key. Listening is essential. So with that, thank you so much, Miss Vinna, for gracing us with your presence. Your time with us is really valuable as it helped our QCAFE audience to listen more and practice active listening. So with that, thank you so much and tune in next week for another interesting episode of QCAFE. I'm your host, Andana, and see you again. Bye! Do like, follow, and subscribe in our YouTube channel, Moose and Core Consulting Inc. Good night, everyone!